Good morning, traders and investors around the world, and welcome to Wednesday's edition of premarketinfo.com, where we prepare you for the most important hour of the day, the first hour. Well, Dennis, 20-point range and the 21-point range in the S&Ps this morning seem to have a little bit of a recovery from yesterday's losses.
Market is popping very nice here this morning, Joel. I know it looks like we're only up 8 when you look at the futures, but we're actually up about 16 because fair value is up about 8 points there. So make sure you adjust those numbers. We are up significantly this morning. ADP just came out, gave us another couple points pop.
Yeah, I noticed that though a lot of the stocks closed near their lows, the S&Ps did get a pop there in the last 15 minutes, so always good to pay attention to that. Looking at the low at 1216.50, if that holds as the low of the day, we have an upside target at 1247.50. That will fit in nicely with Tuesday's Globex high at 1248. And then the end of the month mark at 1249.25 from the end of October. Right now, as long as we hold above this 1227 to 1228 level, I think we're good to go to the upside. Moving on to the Big Ten, another quite quiet day for Apple Computer. Perhaps all those folks that have been selling premium options are starting to take some of this in. Need to get back above 401.05 to send this thing up towards Monday's high of 409. And just coming on the downside, I noticed, of course, afterwards, we just couldn't get to the weekly low of 393.15, got to 393.22. So Apple just settling in here, Dennis.
Tight range again yesterday, Joe. We kind of had the range called almost, like we were saying, the 400 area, use that as resistance. And I'm still going to use that 400 as a swing number here today. We're 399.30. I think you might get some initial resistance there. It starts to move through there. Maybe it moves higher. And that low 390s, well, 393 is a little ways from the 391 number we had talked about. But, 393, you had a good number there on the sheet. Obviously, 393.22 held there yesterday. So you see some support down there as well.
Okay, ExxonMobil, just a few days ago, the stock was knocking on the door at 82, and now we close at 75.93, trading up about a stick from there at 76.80. Has a gap to fill from 77.11, that's yesterday's high, up to 78.09. So see what happens in the low 77s here. If we bust through there, we'll easily see that $78 level. Coming back on the downside, since we're trading above the close there, that 75.93 to 76 area should be your first area of support.
Kind of reminds me of that chart, looking up like an escalator, down like an elevator, Joel. Obviously through October we ran up from that 75, breaking out of that 75, got as high as 82, and then basically in 2 sessions we gave it all back. Didn't quite get to the 75 area that we had talked that might give some support, got to 75.45. So if you were a little aggressive with your buying off that 75, then you might have got a good long. I was sitting a little bit lower, hoping to pick it up in the 75.10 area. Didn't quite get there. Would have been nice. Obviously, I'll still be sitting down there looking at that area for some support.
Okay, tight range in IBM yesterday, only 3 points, 180.74. We're trading quite a bit above that, so that was yesterday's low, also well above the close. Have a little gap to fill here between 83.26. Which was Tuesday's high and Monday's low and close at 84.53. Looks like we're very close to doing that now. I'm sure things should start to thicken up here around that 184.50 level, and some good support at the close, 181.35.
Still a nice trend line in place held there yesterday. I remember Jeff Mackey on CNBC years ago used to say, take your purple crayon and draw a line. Well, it would apply with this one over the last couple of months. So if we bring up a 2-month chart, there's definitely an upward trend there that has formed on IBM. If it was to take out that 180, I would argue that maybe that trend is broken. So continue to use the 180, 181 area for some support. Through 180, then all bets are off on that one. But we are getting a bounce off that trend line again here this morning, 183.28. So I continue to look at that trend line and try to buy off that trend line until the trend is broken.
Okay, Microsoft took a little bit more of a hit yesterday than a few of the other stocks. Did take out its weekly low, got to 25.86. You got to close there just above 26 below 26 at 25.99. That should be your first area of support. Have a gap to fill from Tuesday's high, 26.32 up to the 26.60 level. I'm sure it'll get a little thick through there, but I guess if you long short from the mid 27s here, this 26 level looks like a good place to start thinking about reversing.
Yeah, if you're lucky enough to get short up there, I mean, we're halfway, we're almost gave back half of the move from October there. Not quite half of the move from October at 26. But that 27 area, for whatever reason, if we start to rally up and have a real strong day, I mean, you're going to have some volatility in these stocks. We've had 2 40-point S&P days, so there'll probably be some volatility here again today. If for whatever reason we start getting the high 26s, I think, you definitely see some sellers coming in.
Okay, Chevron Corporation, just a few days ago, this was a $110 stock and hit 100.79 yesterday. So let's call it 105. Let's sneak back up in the 105 area. That's Monday's low and close. Also a gap to fill in that stock. Actually, this stock is not even trading above yesterday's high, 103.68. So we got a good swing number out there for you here in the Chevron Corporation. 103.68, and I'm sure you'll find some good support at the close, 102.08 down to 102.
Yeah, and I still like that 100 number. I wish it would have got there. I had my orders in there in the low 100s. It only got to 179. I actually got missed on a few stocks there yesterday. I had orders sitting out there off of these old resistance levels, which I were hoping were going to become support. But none of the stocks got there. I was GE, I was sitting out there, Chevron, Exxon. None of them got there. So, I don't know if they're going to get there today. The problem is now, you wonder if that we came so close to getting there yesterday. If they get there today, you wonder if they take them out, but obviously we're rallying very strongly here this morning, so I would probably use yesterday's lows as support as well.
Okay, J&J, similar situation here, gap from 64.10 up to 64.38, which was Monday's low, and the close at 39. Couldn't quite get below that 63 level. That 63.10 ended up being good support. Let's call it 64.38 to 39, Monday's low and close. Be good resistance in this stock today.
This stock here, J&J, is a stock that I wish I would have been able to get short and hold there for a little longer period of time off that 66. Stock has good support down at 62. I still don't know if I love buying it here in the 63s. I just don't see a heck of a lot there. You might see a little resistance as you hiccup back up over the 64 area, but it's kind of in no man's land here, and this is one that I'm sitting on my hands.
Okay, Procter & Gamble, same situation. We have a gap between Tuesday's high and Monday's low and close from 63.60 up to 63.94 to 99. So I'm sure you'll find some good resistance there. As long as we stay above the 62.50 level, I think we'll be able to test that. If not, we're getting back to some lows from quite a while ago. 20 and 26 days lows, the 61.63 to 61.78. I guess those guys that were putting out $500,000 at 65 and $500,000 at 65 and a half, I guess those turned out to be pretty good sells.
Yeah, those were pretty good sells up there, Joel. We were talking about resistance all month. It seemed like last month it had resistance in the 65s and 66 area. We topped out there a few times, in the low 65s. Now, we broke down through that 64 support there yesterday, and if we go back up towards that, I think you might find some resistance in the old 64 area, so that would be my first stopping point and possibly an area where you may want to try a short.
Okay, AT&T, just like the rest of the Big Ten, you got a gap between Tuesday's high and Monday's low and close. So that whole area, 29.11 up to 29.30.31, should be excellent resistance. Above that, Monday's high, 29.65. Ended up closing near the low. We're getting a little pop off that. Still that mid 68 level, 28.62 held up yesterday. So that can't really look for a breakdown to AT&T until we get a close below this 28.50 level.
I remember us talking about this 28.50 level a few times last month too, the 28.60s, 28.50. So funny that it stops at 28.62 again. I definitely use that area for my support here as well. Coming back up, we're trading right around this 29 area, which was an area that gave us resistance back in September. We had topped out there 3 or 4 times in September, so I'm not sure if that area comes back into play. It's kind of in the middle of the recent range, but I'd still argue that maybe you see some sellers in this 29 area.
Okay, Generous Electric wasn't so generous to the longs yesterday. Gap down. You got that upside gap from 1635 up to 1670, 71. Monday's low and close. Think things will start to thicken up there. It snuck below the $16 level, but not for very long. Only got to 1597. So that 16 area should be big for now. And up to Monday's low and close, 1670 should be excellent resistance.
Yeah, we talked about the 16 yesterday providing some support. Obviously, it looks like it held, 1597, so just a few cents through there. So if you took 3 cents a heat, you did okay. Stock is popping up 1622 here, so it's up 20 cents. There ain't a heck of a lot in these 16s, though, Joel. Like you said, there's a gap there, and between 30 up to like 1660 area. So, I'd be a buyer possibly down here in the 16s again, although it tested it yesterday, so a second try at it becomes a little bit scarier, but still that 16 should provide some support.
Okay, Coca-Cola popping 71 cents this morning, above Tuesday's high, 67.50. So if we get a pullback, you can use that as support as well as the close at 67.04. Attempting, to fill the gap up to the 68.29 to 32 level, but Coke seems to be getting a nice rally this morning.
I mean, the major resistance was up here at 69. You could argue, that we topped out a couple times at 68, but there is a gap there, so I don't know how much 68 is really going to come into play here. We're at 67.70. But, just expect, the 75 cents, 70 cents even up in the pre-market here is a pretty big move for a stock like Coke. It's typically got a low beta. It moves really around half of what the market usually moves. So, I don't know. I think, if this thing gets up in the 68 area, probably find some sellers. 69 area, find tons of sellers.
Okay, Dennis, just to get a quick recap of this, you said the SPUs closed quite a bit above fair value, and now we're trading another 4.5 points of this. Do you have any tips besides the fair value formulas for our listeners? This is a pretty unusual situation where we've closed with such a premium in quite a long time.
It definitely, you get a lot of people that probably don't totally, understand fair value. Basically, the difference is we have 15 minutes. The SPX, the cash closes at 4 o'clock. The futures trade for an extra 15 minutes past there. So that action that is in there will obviously not be priced into the stock. So there was an extra 8-point pop there between 4 o'clock and 4:15, which needs to be added to what we're up today. Because the close you're seeing, if you're watching the futures, that's the 4:15 close, not where it was trading at 4 o'clock. So you need to add that extra 8 points. So when it says we're up 5 on the E-mini, we're actually up 13. So some traders might not know that stuff. So you may see some stocks maybe open a little relatively low as people don't adjust for those fair value numbers, but your real fair value is up 13 today. So just keep that in mind that, we're not up 5, we're actually up 13.
Okay, that's the end of our Big Ten and SPU show. We'll be back with the market movers.